You're listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The Ecosystem Approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. Last Friday, there was a full moon in the sign of Sagittarius. Today, we're going to channel Jupiter, which is the planet that rules Sagittarius, and to take a look at how this full moon has affected you and how you can use Jupiter energy in the future to benefit you in your life. Jupiter has always been associated with luck and optimism. But is it that simple, or is that too simple? Stay tuned and find out. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the Ecosystem Approach for you. One of these days, I'll be able to get all this out. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, explain again why channeling the planetary energies is so important.
So if you're interested in astrology, and you go on the website, on these different websites on the internet, and there's always this, okay, well, these signs go together. There's always that.
Sure.
There's compatibilities.
Right.
And then they talk about how, like, this full moon in Sagittarius may affect you or not.
Okay.
And what signs it will affect the most, what signs will affect the least. You know, we're taking a much different approach to that.
Okay.
And we're saying these energies of all the planets in the solar system, and this is, you know, if you understand astrology, it's not just the planets, it's the moon, our moon.
That's correct.
It's the sun, which is a star, and all these bodies, heavenly bodies, have an influence on us, our personalities, what happens to us during the day, what's going on in our life. And if we can use the ecosystem approach to remove the negative, and then have a way to have a toolbox of energies.
Oh, I like that.
A toolbox of energies that you can use. Now, if you study astrology, you've pretty much been framed to think that the only energies that you can use are the ones that are in your natal chart. And I see that, especially working with Jupiter this week, is not true. Now, the full moon was in Jupiter.
Correct.
In Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter. So from our perspective, what we see is that full moon was reflecting Jupiter energy. And we've observed, because we get these calls from our clients all the time, and so we're plugged in, and when things happen, they call us.
Sure.
We had one death, which is always sad, but there was one death, but there's been a lot of good things and then turmoil. You know,
exactly.
And they almost seem to be sandwiched together. And so, trying to talk about why is that? Now, if you understand astrology, my sun sign is Sagittarius,
correct,
which is ruled by Jupiter, and that's always been a big part of my life. But when and I kind of took the lead channeling Jupiter this week, just because
you are
Sagittarius, right? So and
that was good.
So what I found, there's a couple of things that were really, really interesting. I thought starting to channel Jupiter, which is, first of all, Jupiter hates this idea. Jupiter and Sagittarius have been associated with luck and good and gambling.
Okay.
Oh, it hates that. it just hates that
because
Jupiter says, I'm so much more than that. That is so trite.
in other words, stop pigeonholing me in this one place.
And because it's so low level,
Yes.
to see this energy that Jupiter has as a form of luck is really simplistic,
right,
and doesn't feel very good. So it's not about blowing on dice, but what Jupiter wants to do, and so when we channel the planets, one of the things that we do, we go to science.
Yes, we do.
To understand how the planet is put together and what we know about the planet.
In other words, how it's formed and what it's made up of.
Exactly.
Okay.
Jupiter is very gaseous, and it has lots of layers.
Right.
And if you look on the surface, there are these storms. They talked about 400-mile-per-hour winds.
Correct.
Which is inconceivable here on Earth.
Correct.
And so how do we interpret that? How do we make a metaphor out of that? And as I went and started talking to Jupiter, it was saying, well, okay, there's a lot going on. There are a lot of layers.
That's correct.
It has great, huge power.
Yes, it
To
does.
make a difference in anybody that takes that energy and uses it in any sort of way. Now, one of the things that we've always wanted to do with the ecosystem approach was literally change the world, because we see, this is very Sagittarius of me,
the big picture.
The big picture, and forgive me if it sounds a little arrogant. It probably does sound arrogant, but hey, I'm a Sagittarius, so that's who I am.
Yeah.
But this idea that we all have this frame of accomplishment and performance,
okay,
in terms of our life, that our life is framed as accomplishment, performance, and that's the way to life satisfaction.
To see it. You're talking about programming right there.
We're talking about programming. That is not true. Jupiter hates that, and now this is the age of Aquarius.
Yes.
And it's about personal empowerment.
Yes.
And Sagittarius is saying, hey, let's do some big things. Let's, the representation of Sagittarius is half man, half horse.
Correct.
Which I always kind of related to. I have this equestrian energy. I used to be a runner. I used to love to run. I could feel that, like a horse, like let's move, let's giddy up, let's go.
Okay. Yeah.
And the half man with the bow and arrow is this. It's not shooting at a target. It's shooting
for
up
the
to the sky.
stars.
Yes, for the sky.
Yes, and I want to say one thing. What you have when I look at Jason, what I see is that he has this power, and the turmoil of Jupiter, and I want to say it that way, the turmoil of Jupiter and the layers of Jupiter really is very much reflected in you. And when you conquer a form of that turmoil, there is such a satisfaction,
a clarity.
Thank you. That's the correct word.
And that's a really good example. And you just helped me create a metaphor.
Okay.
Think of a hurricane.
Yes.
As it flows through an area.
Yes.
Now we live in California. There aren't hurricanes. We have all sorts of
other
natural.
Yes,
we have
there's
forest fires can create their own weather and tornadoes.
That's right.
But anyways, when a hurricane comes through an area,
yes,
everything that's weak, everything that
is taken out.
Yes, and it clears the space.
Yes,
for new beginnings.
Correct.
That if you go to Florida, you see a lot of homes that are built up on stilts, basically.
Yes, because of flooding.
Yes. But these hurricanes have taught Floridians how to deal with these kind of weather events.
Yes.
In a big way, and said
this huge amount of energy.
Yes.
There you go.
Very creative. It's helped them, and that's still kind of a trite metaphor, but it kind of fits.
It does.
Going back to the reason we created the ecosystem approach was to change the world from the frame of performance and accomplishment to going inside and saying, who are we at our core? And let's express that in the world in a powerful way.
And I want to say that about 98% of the people that we have worked with, what I see is that turmoil that people have within themselves, they don't know what to do with it.
Yes.
At all.
Yes.
And when we start using the ecosystem approach, what I see is that there's almost this, in the beginning, it's like, oh my gosh. And then when we start removing that negative energy, that turmoil that people have, whether they've created it or it's been created for them, what happens is it calms down and there is a clarity.
Well, I would say clear away, but okay.
Clear away, okay, but there is a clarity that happens.
A power in that clarity.
And now what do I do with this?
Yes.
It's awesome.
And it's great potential. And we're running out of time. So for our next segment, let's talk about people who have had great accomplishment, who haven't done it from that who they are authentically,
yes,
but have done it from some sort of neurosis or
programming.
I wouldn't say, well, programming too, but it's also they've done it because they've been denied something early in life, and they created, I would say, a neurosis to overcome that later in life.
Yes.
And most of the people that have accomplished great things in our world come from that perspective.
Yeah.
And that usually leads to not the way it was intended for human beings. And we're going to talk about that in the next segment.
Well, and so with that said, in the next segment, we are going to continue to talk about channeling Jupiter and all the benefits of that. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show, unscripted with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to continue to talk about channeling Jupiter and the benefits of all of that. Jason, where were we?
So we were talking about people that have accomplished great things in the world. And I'm thinking about the last 100 years, 200 years, that sort of thing.
Sure.
You know, because the information about that is more fresh. When I was growing up as a teenager, I used to read biographies all the time. And
wait a minute, of course you
know,
did.
and I was just fascinated by how they did it. Of course, it was always sanitized. You know, it didn't. It was kind of it was kind of the Ozzie and Harriet approach to biography. You know, it wasn't you know, the stark reality. But what I see is that these people have struggled. And they continue to deal with those struggles, you know.
Right. Well, the one that comes to mind for me is Galileo, and I realized that was more than 200 years ago. But Galileo, I mean, they almost killed him because they believed that Earth was the center of the universe,
and because he was saying, well, no, it isn't,
right?
You know, but I think more like Steve Jobs and Elon
Musk. I know you are. I know, but I was just making, you know, an example.
Charles Branson, not Charles Branson.
Not Charles Manson. I hope
no, not Charles Manson. It was Charles Branson who was the serial killer.
Charles Manson.
Oh, Manson. Okay. Well, there's a Branson, but anyways.
Yeah, Virgin Airlines.
Virgin Airlines and all the other Virgin things. Yeah. So, you know, these guys, they create this persona of themselves.
Yes.
That I'm this huge thinker, you know, all this stuff. But when I look at them using refined intuition and evolved consciousness, which, by the way, you get from using the ecosystem approach.
That's correct.
A different approach to developing human beings.
Correct.
I see that they're deeply flawed.
Yeah.
And what's happening now because of what's going on in the world, the age of Aquarius.
Correct.
They can't create this facade for themselves without having people in the press and biographers poke holes in it.
Correct.
And start to see how they really are.
Yes.
You know, Donald Trump was complete facade. And from the very beginning, that's how he made his money.
Yes.
Was creating an image of himself.
Yeah.
And people would spend money and expect something from that facade that wasn't really there.
Right.
This is part of Jupiter, because this is part of that powerfulness.
Yes.
That comes through at some point when everything's lying bare, because you've come through and blown it all down. You have to have you can't create illusions and facades anymore.
Yeah.
The naked truth is there now.
Right there. Yeah.
If you read the astrology books about Sagittarius, they say foot and mouth. And believe me, I've been accused of that in the past. But one of the things one of the fairy tales that I gravitate toward is the king has no clothes. The king's clothes,
The king's clothes.
And if you haven't heard that fairy tale, it's when he's walking around naked, but he's created this facade that these grifters or these con artists have convinced everybody in the kingdom that only the people that are evolved can see
the beautiful clothes that they made for him.
And a little kid stands up and says, "The king's naked."
Yes, exactly.
And so that's the essence of Sagittarius, which is not having that the need to tell the truth, because with big ideas you can't pussyfoot, you can't tiptoe around.
Correct.
You just have to say it the way it is. And if you look at the world today,
wait a minute, and you're saying that Jupiter is about big ideas.
It is about big ideas.
Okay. I just want to make sure
it demands big ideas.
Yes.
And the luck part is because there's so much power there that things start to happen in a positive way. And that's considered the luck.
Yes.
But I also see there's another part of Jupiter that can make things happen in a bad way. Now, I noticed this with the full moon.
Yes. Okay.
I get all these stories from clients, and a lot of those I can't repeat just because of privacy and confidentiality. We won't do that. But we see what's happening in these people's lives is, when things happen with our clients, they call us.
Yes, they do.
Because they say, "What's going on? What's the energy that's blocking?"
Why is this? Why
it's
is
a whole different approach than saying, "What's this formula to get over this?" We don't talk about formulas.
No, we don't.
We say, "What are the energies?
What do I remove?
What do I remove?" And then see what happens.
Yes. Yes.
So we see all this, and what happens with this Jupiter energy is that some of the good things are happening.
Yeah.
But a lot of things are being cleared away.
Yes.
And it feels bad. So when that old shed in the backyard blows down in the hurricane, we think, "Oh, that's so sad. I love that shack, blah, blah, blah. I have all these memories of it." But now it's
laying in, I was going to say laying in pieces.
Yes.
Or it looks as if it's laying in pieces, but we could also say, if you don't mind, if I jump in, there might be a positive. What could those pieces be used for? And hey, maybe I could design something that can withstand the hurricane.
Or maybe I can use that space in a different way that's better for me.
Exactly.
That's the power of Jupiter. Jupiter has all this power.
Yeah.
And I used to joke with some of my Sagittarius clients saying, "Well, they shoot for the stars, but they miss. They're always missing." Well, that's not actually true 100%.
Okay.
What it does that a lot of Jupiter people, Sagittariuses, have big ideas that never come to fruition. And by the way, the reason they don't come to fruition is because they got negative energy that's blocking them.
Well, and
if they use the ecosystem approach,
it would really help.
Yes.
And I would say, if the Sagittarians in the group, so to speak, and anybody else, that if you're shooting for the stars, hey, bravo to you for even shooting for the stars, or even thinking that it could be a positive thing.
Well, in this age of Aquarius,
absolutely,
2,000 years, it's a big deal. It's time to think big. It's time to say, okay, we screwed up the Earth pretty bad. I saw this article recently that, I think some scientists got together and said AI could create extinction on Earth,
Yes.
artificial intelligence, and put it right up there with climate change and global war and nuclear war, that
Right.
sort of thing.
All of those things.
I see that's all, it's a half truth. If we had the Sagittarius, if we had the Jupiter energy and the big ideas and said, okay, let's see what we can do.
Well, and I'm going to jump in and say, by the way, everyone can actually use the Sagittarian energy, the Jupiter energy is what I really meant to say.
See, I'm a Sagittarius, but it doesn't matter what sign you are. You can use this.
I love that.
And we're going to continue to talk about astrology in our shows going forward.
Yes.
So stay tuned. But if you understand that it's like a toolbox,
yeah,
use the right tool for the right situation.
And sometimes if you don't know what the tool is, if you use the ecosystem approach, you can figure it out.
And you usually figure out using your refined intuition.
Exactly.
And that's really, really exciting. I mean, so Jupiter, there's a couple of things about channeling Jupiter.
Okay.
First of all, and I noticed this when I was focused on Jupiter. We've been doing a couple other planets. We're going to continue to do some more planets going forward.
Right.
But these planetary energies they don't come to Earth as people. In other words, I understand Sagittarius personality.
Yes.
You understand Sagittarius personality.
Yes.
But there's more to it than that personality. So when I go to Jupiter and say, okay, let's talk.
Okay. Jupiter
says, okay, who are you and why should I talk to you? And it's like a huge giant, and I'm like at its foot, pulling on its
toe,
a big toe or whatever, and say, hey, you want to talk to me? And you just, like a gnat, you kind of flick it away. You have to develop a relationship. This is what I've seen with all the planets.
Yes.
People think channeling is just something that you do, that you have the ability to do, which we do. We do it all the time.
Yes, but there's more to it than that.
And you have to develop a relationship.
That's correct.
With the target of what you're channeling. And so we're going to continue to connect with Jupiter, especially. I'm going to do that because it's a big deal to me.
Yes.
Patricia's a Libra, so Venus is a big deal.
Correct.
We've had
but I also read that Jupiter and Venus are very, very compatible.
No, Jupiter and Gemini.
And Jupiter and Gemini are very compatible, excuse me. And
Sagittarius and Jupiter and Gemini are twins.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't even know that. And yet you and I have a way of dancing, so to speak, in unison with, I would say, everything in our life. Yes, we've had to learn how to do a few things like that, but I find that to be amazing.
Well, and we have to break down those negative energies that are getting in the way. But,
that is correct. But how we do that, Jason, is
using the ecosystem approach.
There you go.
So if you're getting this rush of energy up and down your spine right now, and you're saying, OMG, I have to have this, I have to know this. Right. It's very simple. Go to our website right now, theecosystemapproach.org. Sign up for our free section. You'll get the weekly clearings. You'll get the weekly newsletter.
Correct.
You'll be connected to us, and you'll have access to all this content on our website. That is amazing.
True.
Do that right now. I think if you're listening today, even if you just kind of by accident found us and you're listening,
yes,
now's the time to just go sign up.
In the next segment, we're going to continue the conversation about Jupiter. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show, unscripted, with Jason and Patricia. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. In this segment, we're going to continue the conversation about Jupiter. All right, Jason, take it away.
So I'm thinking how this is almost our last segment, and we're trying to think, okay, how can I wind this all up and
sure
and be of value to the audience in terms of, because we don't talk about these things to be philosophical as much as we talk about it to say, okay, how can the audience take this information and use it?
Yes, I agree.
These Sagittarius is in astrology is considered fire.
Mhm.
Fire can roar up, but then it's kind of peter out. That's the wind. You see that wind on
Yes.
Jupiter.
Yeah.
But it's not constant. There's storms that are
Mhm.
big and
Right.
so I see that Jupiter energy clears the way for truth, clears
Oh, I like that.
all the pretense and the stuff that says, oh, this really is important and goes right to the heart of the matter.
Mhm.
And I like that. I see that for real change to happen in the world, we can't be polite. We can't be overly concerned about appearances and who are going to offend and all those things. When Jupiter comes in, it's like it just clears the way.
Okay.
It clears anything in its path, and it can be destructive. It can be,
Sure.
oh, I don't know if I want that. It may not
But
ask for buy-in.
anything can be destructive.
Yes.
That's the way I would look at it.
But this is big energy, and it's
Yes.
it's not something that's small. It's something that's
Okay.
big, and it just kind of takes over. If you're going to use Jupiter energy, I see that when you need some oomph, when you need some clarity, when you need some truth.
And I would say some understanding.
One of the things we talked about in the beginning was this. It reflects optimism. People who have Jupiter energy are considered very optimistic, but I think that's misleading. It's not
la la optimism.
It's not la la optimism, like turn that smile upside down, or
yes.
We're just all going to be happy right now just because, that sort of thing. It's sort of an optimism because it has this bigness.
And by the way, that's turn that frown upside down.
Oh, okay.
Smile.
Okay. Turn the frown upside down. So it says, okay, we see with this big energy what can happen. That's correct. The optimism. It's not la la. It's not, oh, let's, we can do this and we do that, and then forget about it and go do something else. Now, there are a lot of Sagittariuses in the world, and you're thinking, well, that sounds great, but I'm a Sagittarius, so I have Sagittarius energy in my chart, and that's not happening for me. It's always the negative energy
that blocks you.
And when we talk about planetary energies and using a toolbox, that's really exciting, but people a lot of times will miss the point, which is, and we've talked about this on other shows, that your emotional story is what's blocking you. It's like a huge dam or roadblock.
That's correct.
What you came here to be, what your essence, your soul came here to express in this world, in this physical world. And what's blocking you is that negative energy. And with the ecosystem approach, we teach you how to work with your emotional story, start using tools to clear away that emotional story. One of the main tools that we use is the Enneagram.
That's correct.
Your Enneagram type often conflicts with your astrology.
Totally.
Which is what happened to me. I mean, I was a 6. I was way too fearful and insecure, which is not me at all.
No.
I got all this Sagittarius energy and fire energy, and to be just to be polite and to be a nice guy and to not make any waves and to do all those things which my mother programmed me to do.
Sure.
Is not me.
No.
And now that I'm starting to remove those things, I'm saying, okay.
Well, you haven't started. You have been removing.
Yes, I've been moving for a long time.
Yes, you have.
And now I'm saying, hey, here I am.
Well, and I want to make one major point here. Using that Sagittarian energy, first off, you will take one step back from a situation and you will analyze it in less than a heartbeat, so to speak. That's anyway. The bottom line is that you will say that needs to go, that needs to go, that needs to go. In other words, in that situation, this needs to be done, that needs to be done. You can act that fast, and it is awesome. It is absolutely awesome. And when somebody goes, well, you will now, you didn't always, but you will now stand up and go, I know what I'm talking about. Back up.
Well, and it's especially when we're talking about this stuff.
Yes.
You know, if someone's talking
Yes.
to me about who's going to win the Super Bowl, no, I just don't. I just,
well,
you know,
first off, you see that is a form of misusing the luck energy.
well, yeah, I'm here to change the world, and you're talking to me
Yeah,
about the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
You know, it just
Exactly.
and that again, that sounds very arrogant, and it kind of is.
Well,
you know,
yeah.
let's call it what it is.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
but it's just I know what I'm here to do, and I want to do it, and it's
Yes.
fun, and it's
And it's also something that you and I have brought into reality, that things can be done in a very positive way
Yeah.
to make a difference.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really, really awesome. I love it.
You know, so if you use it for big things,
Correct.
or to get some excitement going, some enthusiasm going.
Yes.
And then with the idea of using that enthusiasm for something that's really positive in the world.
And that can make a difference.
That's the tool.
Yes.
You know, if you're just using it instead of coffee, you know, I would think, well, you know, Jupiter energy, you know, doesn't have any enthusiasm to be used instead of coffee, you know, just to get you to do something more that's trite, or something more that's unimportant.
Right.
You know, it wants to do something big.
Yeah.
But that's a tool.
Yeah.
You know, what a neat tool in your toolbox. So it doesn't matter what your sun sign is, your
and
moon
by the way,
sign
I'm not
is.
giving up my cup of coffee.
Yes. When we work together, when we're channeling together, or
Yes.
clearing,
Mhm.
or looking at things with our refined intuition, there's an excitement that happens.
Oh.
There's a connection that happens.
Yes.
And it's a lot of fun. Whenever we do it, the dogs just kind of they could be on the other side of the house, and they'll be running up to us, and they can feel that energy.
They can not only feel that energy, but they want to be on us.
Yes.
They want to be next to us. They want to be with us, and they will calm right down, and they love being with us when we're doing this.
Yes.
So it's really quite nice.
So let's tell people how to remove negative energy, which we're going to do in the next segment.
That's correct.
Okay. But let's, in terms of Jupiter approach.
Okay.
So and I don't know what I'm going to talk about now, but that just came to me, so I'm just going to go with it.
Okay.
What's neat about the way we remove negative energy using the ecosystem approach is it doesn't have a lot of rules. Very, very Sagittarius, very Jupiter-like. Okay. Yes. There aren't just, you have to sit in a certain way, or you have to be reverent, or you have to and let's talk about that reverence. Okay.
Okay. All right.
And I know we're running out of time, but this idea that you have to subordinate yourself to a higher power. I talk to God all the time. I believe that there is a God, and but I don't see that entity asking for submission. And it maybe knows that being a Sagittarius, I wouldn't want to do that anyways. But this idea that you can only use energy by submitting to some sort of
higher
power, that just seems really off to me. And you know, some of you with religious backgrounds, you might say, oh, that doesn't feel right, blah, blah, blah. But even the idea of worship and submitting yourself, subordinating yourself. Sagittarius energy doesn't want to subordinate itself. It wants to say, hey, I got a big idea. Hey, look at me over here. Let's do this.
Yes.
Let's make the world better.
Yeah.
So with
that said,
with our process to remove negative energy, you can be walking, you can be laying down, you can be doing something else.
Right.
And you don't have to be in a reverent position. And So when we say and to eliminate, that's the verb, to eliminate.
correct.
We're not we want to remove what's blocking us, because Sagittarius has this big idea.
Yes.
So we, in our mind's eye, in our imagination, we gather up from the tips of our toes, literally
up
up,
our body,
and blow it into the processor. The processor was a big idea.
Yes, it was.
Because it processes negative
energy, not only helping you, but also helping the earth and everything around you.
Because then it comes out neutral.
Yes.
And it's up to you to make that energy to something really positive.
That is correct.
That is based on your big ideas.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then after we do that, one of the things that what we're going to do is we're going to activate life force, the most powerful energy. And when you have removed negative energy, you want the most powerful energy. And by the way, it doesn't mean that you stand up with a big gun or that kind of thing. That's not what that means. That means that gives you the power to use the energies and have the understanding of the energies that you need to get through this moment, that today and even tomorrow.
Well, and the main point is that if you've been listening for a while,
yes,
instead of life force, we've been using specific planetary energy.
Yes, we have.
Which is sort of like, it's life force is all of it.
Yes.
But when you're very specific, I find that it's when you're using the specific tool for the specific situation,
Correct.
It's more powerful, even though that specific energy may not be as powerful.
Exactly. So with that said, stay tuned. In the next segment, we're going to show you and help you remove negative energies for you and your life. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to do some clearings, removing negative energies, so you can use Jupiter energy and other planetary energies in your life. Jason, are you ready?
Here's how we do it. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the barrier, so I can see that using Jupiter energy can be very helpful to me in many, many ways. So remove those barriers.
So remove those
Imagine those barriers in your mind's eye, gather them up in your tips of your toes, blow them into the processor.
That Emily is putting up on the screen right now. And if you're driving or you're listening to the show, you can go to our website
at theecosystemapproach.org. We have you can actually download a picture of the processor.
That is correct.
Print it out and
Yes.
put it on your desk or table or whatever.
Right.
It works really well.
So let's take one more breath and take all that negative energy that's keeping you from using Jupiter energy right now. And
Those barriers.
You don't need it. Take a breath and blow it out. And let's continue on. And to eliminate the barriers, so I can see that I have to remove some of the negative energies attached to me to feel and use the planetary energies that are available to me. Nice and easy, from the tips of your toes. Pick up any barriers that are blocking you from using negative energy, or using planetary energies, and throw them into that processor. Blow out.
So many people have come to us and said, I can't feel that. I can't feel that. Well, it's because they've got so much negative energy that's accumulated that they can't feel that. And once you start removing that, you start to feel these things. So here we go. And to eliminate the intense feelings of worry, anxiety, and stress that I have that's keeping me from my purpose and the big ideas of my life.
Nice and easy. From the tips of your toes, remove those intense feelings. And to eliminate the barriers, so I can see that Jupiter loves the big, bold ideas and benefits about life, meaning your life. So that I can use Jupiter energy in my life. Nice and easy. Take a breath again and blow out anything that's blocking you, all those barriers.
So, and to eliminate the barriers, so I can see that using planetary energies can be like a toolkit for my life.
Yes.
Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, Mars, Neptune.
The moon. Yes, yes, nice and easy. Take a breath And blow out any negative energies that's blocking you from using your toolkit that you have. And to eliminate any feelings of fear and terror that I have, that I'll be judged using astrology and the astrological concepts. Nice and easy. Take a breath and throw away all those barriers.
And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that the full moon in Sagittarius is reflecting Jupiter energy for me and helping me create something bigger and bolder for my life.
Oh, what? That's a good one. Nice and easy. Take a breath and blow out any negative energies. And to eliminate any feelings of fear and hurt and shame that I have because those negative energies are still present in my life and blocking me from a bigger, bolder life. Nice and easy. From the tips of your toes and blow out those barriers.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that the full moon has nudged me to see my life in a new way.
Yes.
So I can see that, see what that new way is for me.
Yes. Take a breath. And I just want to add to that, because we are all unique, the bigger and bolder ideas are not the same for everyone, and that's okay. One more time, take a breath and blow it out. Let's activate some life force. What do you say?
Yes, here we go.
All right. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate life force energy so I can use, so I can figure out and use all the planetary energies that I have access to, and use it in my highest and best interest starting right now. Pulling those energies and nice and easy, let it go all the way down your body to the tips of your toes. Turn it around and ask right now that life force and those planetary energies to throw away all the negative energies that are blocking you from who you are and what you want. Jason?
And to activate life force so I can have hope to use Jupiter energy to make my life bigger and bolder, no matter what my natal chart says.
There you go. Take a breath, pull it in, and blow it out. And to activate life force so I can trust that I have the power to influence my world by using Jupiter energy. Pull it in and now blow it out.
And to activate life force so I can decide to focus on removing negative energies of my emotional story so I can really use planetary energies.
Yes, for me, pull it in and blow it out. And to activate all the planetary energies that I need and want, and that I can use in a very positive way for myself, so I can be happy and healthy, love myself, love who I am, and intentionally see what the big picture has for me and use all of that energy for me starting right now. Pull it in and blow out any negative energies that are blocking you. Jason, what are we going to talk about next week?
We're going to talk about creating relationships in maturity. Is it more difficult? And by maturity, I mean, most people, they connect when they're in high school and college.
Correct.
That's when you couple up, and a lot of people get married. Maybe it's the first couple of years after you've gotten out of college. A lot of people don't go to college. That's okay too. But you know, we have this first round.
Yes.
And then 30s, 40s, 50s, people start to get divorced. They start to they lose partners.
Yes.
Things happen,
Mm-hmm.
but then they come to us and say, I want
more.
I want a relationship.
I want a relationship.
And how do I do that?
Yeah.
And a lot of times they think that they have this maturity that will help them when and so they don't have to do anything. They just have to, be who you are and that sort of thing. That doesn't necessarily work. So we're going to talk about the biggest challenges and blocks and difficulties.
That's good. That's going to be a really good show.
Yeah. And
I think so.
And how to overcome them.
Yes, yes, yes.
So if today just gave you a charge, if you got that Jupiter charge, you're thinking, I want some of this.
Okay.
go to our website right now, theecosystemapproach.org. Sign up for our free section. You'll get our weekly clearing list, our weekly newsletter, and we won't do anything with your email address, but you'll have access to all this content on our website that's totally free.
Yeah.
And then listen to our show every week.
Yeah.
You know, we provide this so you can understand how to apply energy in your daily life as opposed to focusing on accomplishment and performance.
Right.
This helps you do it, but in a different way that says, this is how humans are designed, and we're going to make that work for you.
Correct.
And you can also go to our Facebook page,
Okay.
which is theecosystemapproach.org. And we have our videos there.
Yes.
If you're there, please like us. We appreciate that. And you can ask us questions there, list any comments that you want right there.
Well, and I'm going to add one thing. If you liked our show today, tell your friends. Tell your friends and family about
I like
us.
that. Yeah, that's great.
This is, what we're talking about. We know that it works, and give it a try. I think you'll be very, very happy with all of it. So we'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Transformation Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.